Hello, welcome to Artvent, and today we're going to talk about why your work's not selling. And I'm going to give you a tip that has helped me see my work in a different way. Okay, so when we make a painting, we keep it in our studio and we see it with this white wall background with other paintings around it. And from spending so much time in studio, with time, you actually don't see what your work looks like outside of your studio. And I only realized this when I began to have an at-home studio setup. Just because with having so many paintings, I had to hang them outside of my studio, in the living room, in the kitchen, and my work began to look completely different when taken out of that white wall studio environment. So what does hanging your work in your home have to do with selling or not selling? When you bring a painting into a gallery, it will look completely different than it did when you were working on it in studio. When it was in the company of other paintings that you had made, all the little things you keep in studio that inspire your work and that remind you of your aesthetic, once all those things are gone, you will see your painting for what it is. And I only began to see my work in this way when I took it out of that secure, safe studio environment. So walking past my work in a no pressure environment, I began to have a better feel for the painting. And I started to see elements of my work that I was desensitized to before. So for example, I would look at my painting and I would think, wow, I feel tired just by looking at it. That's probably a sign that that painting is beyond overworked, and it shows. But in studio environment, that would have been fine. Are the colors in the painting actually working? Or is there something off? Are they clashing? Is that causing some kind of visual stress? Now what I'm talking about here could be purely on an abstract level, on a design compositional level, to where some colors are clashing, some proportion is off, something is not right. Or if you're doing realistic work, it could be an anatomy problem. Are the arms the same length in the painting, or is something kind of wonky? But if you take that painting outside of studio at a point where you think it's pretty much near completion at a 90%, and if you just live with it for a little bit, just look at it, you will begin to see all the things that are wrong with it. And when I fixed those problems with the painting that I myself saw were not quite right, that I didn't like, because remember, your paintings should be perfect to you. You should really like your work. Don't try to work backwards and make something that a buyer would like. Make something that you yourself are really, really happy with. Are you happy with those colors? Are you happy with that painting being in your environment? Because when I started spending time living with my paintings, a magical thing happened. The more I liked the paintings that were hanging in my home, the faster they were selling. So when someone is looking at your work at a gallery, it's not as personal as you think. They're going by their own sensation. Is the painting visually an eyesore to look at? Or is it beautiful? Are the elements of design working in the painting? So first of all, make sure that you yourself are happy with the work that you are making. And only you as a painter, as an artist, will know when all those boxes are checked and when your painting is done. So periodically take your paintings outside of the studio environment and keep them hanging in your house somewhere where you will see them for 2 to 3 weeks to see what they actually look like as windows to another reality. And in the end, do they make you happy as a painter? Because that is what's most important. If you are happy with your work and you did a beautiful job, that is the work that's going to sell in a show, because your buyer will intuitively see the same thing in your work.